back.
Alex Garland's latest film, Civil War, is a solid picture with a few highlights, but it is ultimately undone by the zeitgeist it wishes to explore. This is a film about war journalists and the importance of journalism, and everything pertaining to the left-right divide in the United States in this film lacks impact. But I guess it's hard to get butts in seats or a large budget if you don't have something salacious in your film like the Second American Civil War to stir up a lot of free marketing. The story follows four journalists from different backgrounds, all of whom are headed to Washington, D.C. in the dying days of the Civil War. The president is tipped to be deposed and executed, and so our heroes hope to get an interview with the renegade third-term despot before his administration completely crumbles. This journey sees them enter a Twilight Zone America full of abandoned towns, military checkpoints, dwindling resources, and constant danger. Every step is fraught with uncertainty, and this highlights the different beliefs these journos have, and in so doing reveals some unique facet of this great profession that Garland admires. Lee is a jaded war photographer and legend in her trade. Joel is a gung-ho journalist who wants to hit the president with hard questions. Sammy is the aging mentor who is after a final significant experience before he gives it all up. And rounding out the group is Jesse, the young photographer who idolizes Lee and needs to learn hard lessons about the life she wishes to join. And this will be the first thing that you notice. Civil War isn't a film about an American Civil War. It's just an excuse to follow journalists and look at what motivates and guides them. Unfortunately, Garland has opted for a stereotypical quartet, and so this is the first big issue with the movie. Everything, and I mean everything, is predictable. You can guess how this film is going to play out perfectly. The bad guys are all straight white men like you've seen before. The good guys are all liberal women from diverse backgrounds. A good soldier has painted fingernails. A bad soldier says China, just like Donald Trump would.
China.
China.
China. China. China. China.
China.
China. China.
China.
It's cliched, and ultimately, as I said at the outset, is what hurts the film. At one point I was even left wondering, is Alex Garland trying to get laid by claiming to be a male feminist? It seems cynical, but his depiction of saintly women and rapacious men was so on the nose that I couldn't help but wonder. It's called aggressive mimicry for those who are unaware, and it's a gross way of trying to sleep around, or catch your prey. Nevertheless, while didactic monologues may be kept to a minimum, the idea is normally reserved for those cringe-inducing sequences are all communicated visually in such a way that you'll still find yourself scoffing. So I do think Civil War would have worked better as a character study of journalists set in an unnamed nation at war with itself, because the actual meat of this picture and the stuff that resonates strongly has nothing to do with the United States and its culture war, and everything to do with the importance of asking tough questions free from any commentary. To be a silent observer like a good war photographer rather than a propagandist who wishes to frame the discussion around their own biases. As the main character Lee says, their job is to record and it's others who are to ask questions. So while the culture war agenda is still in Civil War, Garland really doesn't want to focus on it and is instead interested in journalism, ists, and their contribution to a stable society. In one evocative image, we see how journalists in the military are opposite poles that produce stability and can be used to eliminate anything which seeks to destroy freedom. I won't say more than that without spoiling a big scene, but you'll know it when you see it. Alongside this, a real strength was the large pitch battles reserved for a very compelling third act showdown in Washington, D.C. For most of its runtime, Garland opts for localized conflicts with a small cast and tension over bombast. I found this to be excellent, and it's one of the real highlights of the film to me. We have a very tense standoff between two opposing snipers, two units of troops separated from the main action, or soldiers disposing of countless civilian victims. This last sequence, which has Jesse Plemons stealing the show, was particularly gripping. It's a testimony to how simple things like good dialogue, blocking, ratcheting tension, and the well-timed explosion from a rifle can leave everyone in the theater deathly silent and on the edge of their seat. Unfortunately, the Plemons scene is undone by a Deus Ex that made no sense. I won't spoil it, but let me ask you this question. Would you hear a loud noise if you were in the middle of nowhere and everything was quiet?
I don't know.
Finally, for those long-time viewers, I clocked a C3 on the number plate of the truck the journalists drive throughout the film. Now call me crazy, but Garland did get a big budget for this one, and that could explain a few things. All up, Civil War is not a film you'll be talking about a decade from now. There's nothing particularly brilliant or controversial about it, but it is solid. So provided you aren't particularly offended by bigoted depictions of white men, then you should find yourself enjoying the film, which benefits as well from a tight runtime. Ultimately though, I think Civil War would have worked better if they'd avoided everything to do with the United States and the unending bullshit that comes out of its culture war. Thanks for watching.
There's a misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay? Okay. What kind of American are you?